Yeah. Oh, it's recording.
Oh, yeah. Okay, dope.
So yeah, kind of talking about...
So what's going down?
Hey.
You are on the recovery pod.
Whoa.
That's what's going down. All right.
So yeah, I'm just thinking about like people being in recovery and being around people regularly who still use. You know, I've heard a couple people mention on like a podcast or, you know, just from their own experience that they're able to do that, you know, non-judgmentally. Like this one guy, he posted one time on Facebook that he's like, I want you to be comfortable. You know, I don't want to tell you what to do or not to do around me. I want you to be comfortable. And I am in a place where I can say no to this because it's not something that serves me. It's not something that interests me. It's not something that I want. Just like passing on like a tuna sandwich. Like, no, I'm fine. Like, I don't eat tuna sandwiches anymore. And just leaving it at that. And it always makes me wonder because for me, I struggle with either the old small part of me that still exists being like, this would have enticed me at one time. Or the new part of me that's like, I don't like this going on around me. I don't like this behavior. I don't like this attitude. Or I don't like that you're doing this in front of me. Or I don't like that I'm allowing this. You know, I'll kind of internalize that like I should be more assertive right now. I should take care of myself better right now. So anyway, it just makes me wonder, do these people really like, are they really okay with being around it, like no thought in their head? Like if I pass on a tuna sandwich, I'm not sitting there thinking about the tuna sandwich or thinking about how you are eating the tuna sandwich. But like, if I pass on, you know, if you're using something around me and I pass on it or I allow it, there's still something there for me. I'm either enticed or off-put. You know, very, very rarely am I ever just very neutral with no thought in my head at all. So, I don't know, it just got me thinking about that. What do you think?
So, the more you just said about it, the more I started thinking, like, there's so many levels to this shit. There's, like, a level of, you know, first you're at a level where it's like you're disconnected from yourself and you don't really know what is what, which is, you know, just, that's for certain people, like, you know, me. Oh god, that stink.
Oh, yeah, speaking
is that a
of...
skunk or what?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't light nothing up.
I'm sure fucking all just dropped me off the
coming out of my
side of the road.
6 years later. My last little bit of toxin.
Stank. No, it was just like, oh yeah, you're gonna be talking about being around this shit? Well, yeah. Here you go. Try this. How was that? But yeah, I was okay with being around it because, I mean, it was just constant lies to myself. It was like, you know, I'm fine, I'm good, and then there was also this huge part, which was like, I felt like I was so special. I was such an empath. I had these like supernatural capabilities that I would work as a bartender and I would force people to get more drunk so I could feel that drunkenness through them because I was that fucking special and amazing. And it was in the moment, I felt this rush. I felt this like, you know, that same feeling that I would get at like parties and stuff. But as soon as I get home and the next morning and like a couple days after, you know, I would just feel like shit. I would just not be able to like do anything.
But were you able to see that that's why you felt like shit, or did you feel like shit and you just didn't know why?
That's where I was going to get to.
Okay.
Because I was disconnected with myself and I did not pay attention to myself whatsoever, my life was just a constant series of like up and downs for no reason. I had no reasoning, no logic behind anything that was going on. It was just me feeling like shit was just my default state that I accepted and that I just, you know, the day that I decided to get sober and went into rehab, I told myself, you're gonna feel like shit for the rest of your life, and you just need to accept that.
Yep.
So that was just part of that thing. I didn't know that was a thing that, yeah.
So it's kind of like, I understand that, because when I went to rehab, it was the same thing. I'm like, dude, you're going to be bored, you're going to be like unfulfilled, and you're going to feel like meh the rest of your life. So just get okay with that. Like when I went to rehab, I accepted that that's going to be the new normal, and I just have to get used to it. So I'm just wondering, but now knowing what recovery feels like true recovery, overcoming it, being excited for life, having that spark, having that fire, did you know that existed in these times? Because you had a few years of sobriety at the time. So is it like you just accepted this as this is what sobriety is? Not having those moments of like pure serenity in recovery. So then when these low times or dark times hit, it was a noticeable shift to where you're like, okay, this isn't my normal. You just stayed in that low point as a normal.
Yeah, so that was the next thing I was gonna get into again.
Oh, excuse me. Well, just fuck me right here, okay?
Everything, like, all your questions are like, that was my next thing.
Well, I'm a mind reader.
No, you are. Yeah, so special. So then, that was around the time when because I was bartending and doing all that crap, I was just really feeling like, damn, dude, this is not getting better. So then I started going to meetings, and I met you, who actually, you're the reason why I just kept going to meetings, because I'm constantly nagged.
Because I'm fucking hot.
Because you were just nagging me.
You were just planning on 13th stepping me the whole time.
Oh, God. No, there was a lot of, no, we're not getting into that. I was going to say red flags. I was like, nope.
Oh, yeah, no, I wasn't at my best at the time.
Especially that first drive to Mount Pleasant.
What?
When you got mad at my driving,
God.
And your vibe was so fucking killed, I'm like, there's no way.
No, you were driving like a mad person. Like, we were in the car not even 10 minutes before I had like 2 or 3 moments where I'm like, I'll be okay. And by the 4th one, I'm like, bruh, like, can you please just drive normal? I'm sorry, like.
All right, well, anyways. So I started going to meetings, and I started getting a feel that I am in control of how I feel. I have a choice in what things I can and cannot do for my serenity. So even though I went to rehab, even though I went to meetings there, for me that was kind of like, it was just kind of like this, like a shake-up, like, yo, this is how the world is. Nobody owes you anything, and you need to quit being such a bitch. That was all that it did for me.
Right.
It helped me shake off my selfishness, my manipulativeness, I was still kind of a liar and a thief after I got out, but it slowly started drifting off. But during those like meetings when I felt like I had a choice, it's like I started having moments where it's like, okay, I know I can feel better. And as I was doing that, I realized that I have to do things to take care of myself. So the partying, I still did, but it was like those moments I knew what I was like, that it was not making me feel good. Like if before it was just I was forcing myself into it, but then during the going to meetings, it was like, I don't have to do this, and like, why am I doing this every time?
Well, yeah, because you don't know better at first, You just think, well, this must be what sober people do, because they don't just sit in their houses all day avoiding the world. This is what all my friends are doing. There's, you know what I mean? So
another part of that was also that I was a college kid, and every college kid, even the nerdy ones, the ones that don't party, like still would do that shit. Right. So it's like, because college is the time where everybody gets it out of their system. Because I got sober way too early. And like, yeah, I got it out of my system early, 17, 18, 19, but I got to a point where other people, like, in my age group, didn't get it out of their system, and I was around. It was just that. So, anyways, so then after, because then I realized I need to get in touch with my emotions, and as I started getting in touch with my feelings and connecting to myself, I started differentiating, like, okay, going and doing this makes me not feel good. So why am I doing this? I can have other things that make me feel good. This doesn't even make me feel good at all. So then I had to completely stop because it doesn't serve me anymore. There's no reason for me to do it unless I'm doing it, like you always say, with a purpose. So I don't know if those other people have a purpose with that, but I don't have a purpose with going somewhere where everybody's just getting smashed,
Right. Yeah, I never had a lot of experience playing with that. Like, the only times I can think of is when I got sober at first. I got sober at one point on my own, just because it wasn't working for me anymore. And then I hung out with people because we still, made music together. Those were the only friends I had. And isolating just wasn't really doing much better. So it did feel good to hang out with them. And I go to the studio and, they'd be smoking blunts or maybe still taking pills, and I would just pass on it. And for the first few times, I was okay. Like, it was like, no, I don't want it. I feel good being sober. Like, it did feel good. It wasn't any type of awareness in me. It was just no longer, like, sucking me down. So it did feel good, but only once or twice that I can remember being around them, able to pass on it and truly not obsess over it. Then it was like maybe 3 or 4 more times passing on it, but obsessing over it, like, I wish I could, or I'd leave, like, fuck, I really, wanted that, but it didn't dawn on me to separate myself from these friends as an option or stop doing these things, because it was like, well, I have to, like, these are the only friends I have, they're not pushing it on me, I just have to get stronger, or I don't want to not make music with these guys. This is like my team. And so all that shit was going in my head. And then it was, the next few times after that was, well, I'll just hit it once, or I'll just do this. I'll smoke, but I won't take any pills. I'll hit it and get high, but I won't buy any and take it home. And then once that started again, it was within a week before I'm buying my own shit. I never relapsed on pills right away, but I always did eventually, because that just had more of a sting to me. Like, this is an expensive habit to keep up that does not last long for you. And, so anyway, I wasn't going to meetings. I didn't have any of these tools. Nobody was telling me, like, these are the mind processes you're going through, or this is a dangerous behavior, this is why. There was no hope for me that I could, like, put up boundaries with friends or change my surroundings and be happy with them. It was all like, I'm losing something, I'm grieving something, so yeah, it's just weird looking back, because it was so heavy, and I run into so many people these days who are so attached to their friends or their lifestyle that, yeah, they may feel like they need to or want to quit doing drugs, but the reality of it is they have to give up so much more, or like torture themselves being around it all the time. So there was like a concept of grieving, that I try to bring up often in like groups and shit, because I'm like, how have you grieved your lifestyle? Because we like to make it seem like drugs bad, lying, cheating, stealing bad. You should just not want to because it's a bad thing to do. Not really realizing that these are ingrained behaviors, one, but also that's my lifestyle. You know what I mean? So I have to grieve it. I have to, like, acknowledge its existence and like find ways to let it go, because just telling someone they shouldn't want that anymore, that's too simple of an answer to a complicated question. You know what I mean? So we have to like learn to let it go, to acknowledge, you know, the role it played in our lives, whether good, bad, or ugly, or whatever, because it is a part of us that, you know, we need to just grieve from and move on from. And there's all these stages of grief, you know. It's not just acceptance. Oh, I accept that this doesn't work for me anymore, so I'm done with it. Like, you know?
Yeah, I never thought of it as grieving. Like, it definitely is something that, like, it was there, and then now it's no longer there, and you have to get used to that it's not being there. And I had a lot of different stages. So basically my main switch over was just seeing how what was getting in touch with where I'm at and where I wanted to be, and then finding people that were right there with me. So then I started weeding out, like, even people that are non-addicts, non-toxic, not, you know, good people, good friends I had, who weren't part of the people I used with. Even some of them, I don't have anything in common anymore.
Right.
So it's not even about who uses or who doesn't. It's about what is your growing, what is your level of growth and just a level of wanting to grow.
Yeah.
So I've realized I don't want to be around people that don't want to work on themselves, who don't want to grow, who are just plateauing.
Right.
Or who, you know, are just working 9 to 5 and just, you know, not really doing anything. And I don't know. I want to be around people. I want to be around people that are working towards something that inspire me.
Right.
And that I can, and who I can inspire. So, and like some people, going back to what we initially started talking about, people that can be around people that use. It's like, if you are connected with yourself, and if you do want to surround yourself with people that you want to be with, that are in the same level as you are, you must have to have, that's like another level that you're reaching, where you can just see those things happening and not let them affect you. Because I know for me, if I see somebody using in front of me right now, I know that feeling of jealousy will come out.
Yep.
That feeling of, well, maybe I can too. And that feeling of all those things. And, you know, it's the cravings, the urges, for me, are dealt the same way as my defects. Because I put them in the same category. Like, if I can let go of my defects, if I can kind of just to play the tape through and work through both of them on the spot very well, then I don't have an issue with being around people that are using and having that affect me. I can just disconnect from it, detach from it, or not disconnect from it, but just like detach, observe, be aware, blah, blah, blah. I haven't reached that level. So whoever has, good for them.
Well, like, I can do it in moments.
There are people that have reached that, you know.
I can't do it all the time. Like, when I'm over at, like, my mom's and my cousins are smoking, you know, it doesn't bother me, but they're not doing it around me. You know, they're not coming up to me, showing me what they're doing, or trying to engage in conversations with me about it. But they're also not trying to, like, hide themselves from it. And I respect that. Now, this only happens once in a while. It's not like every Friday night I'm around these people and going through these things, you know, and then choosing to engage myself with them where, you know, a good portion of the activity surrounded this leisure activity I'm going through is based around using. I wouldn't be able to do that. And then you got to ask yourself, like, what's the purpose here? Why do you need to be around these people? Is it because you just love these people? Is it because their personalities are something you're attracted to? Are you vicariously trying to get high through them or live through them? What is going on here? Now, I understand if it's like a really good friend of yours who isn't exhibiting like crazy addict behaviors that you're repulsed by or enticed by, and you're just generally their friend, and they want to like come over you and hang out with you and play video games or pool or whatever the hell you guys do together, but they just so happen to be high at the time. And if you're cool with that, then that's fine, you know, but it's if you're just hanging out in the scene and people are doing them in front of you or engaging in behaviors that really don't align with the person you're trying to be. I don't know. And for me, it's just like, that just has no place in my life. Like, I don't, like you were saying, like, the people who are working on themselves, like, I can't be around people, high or not, who are just bitter, resentful, bullshitty, you know, deflective. Like, I don't need you to be on this ever like fucking quest to be woke and admit you know what I mean? I don't need all that, but I can't be on the lower vibrational scale where it's just too much, you know, toxicity, you know, or just too much bullshit.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to be around, but no, go ahead.
This one girl who I used to be good friends with, we used back in the day together, but she was always, I mean, we were homies. I mean, we had each other. I mean, no matter what other shit was going on, we were always, like, on each other's side. There was never we were just real. And still to this day, you know, I was the one who inspired her to get clean. I was the one that, you know, she always looked up to me. But when I met up with her in December, and she wasn't using in front of me. She wasn't, you know, she was not, you know, she's not super toxic. She's kind of like a people pleaser toxic, but not, you know. So even after having a really good conversation with her and we just had a good time, I still feel like there's no reason for me to hang out with her.
Right.
There's still some disconnect now that I can see how she's moving. And it's not the same way as I am.
Right.
So, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And sometimes it gives people time. Like, the friends I have who aren't on my new level, I could still keep, like, somewhat close, but at a distance. You know what I mean? Like, we could be cool, we can touch base every now and then, that's fine, but I couldn't see myself hanging out with them on the regular. You know,
right.
We're not here anymore. Like, you know, whereas I used to hang out with these guys and we were all on the same level, now the people that I'm around in meetings and shit, now we're more on a level, you know, like, because we're all reflective and we can relate with the past and we can relate with the present and we can relate with the future we want to get to.
Are we looking at places right now?
I just thought I saw a sign, so I turned around, but maybe it was just a mailbox. Oh yeah, it was just a mailbox. But I don't know, I'm just kind of driving around, motherfucker. But I like how you brought up the jealousy part, because that's something that I feel like I've recognized a lot lately in myself. Like, as strange as it is, I get jealous when people relapse.
Yep.
It's
not
weird.
strange. It's not
I'm
strange.
like, how come they get to go back out and they get to get high again and they get to, you know, test the water and they get to experiment and they can just come back? Now, don't get me wrong. I see so many reasons why I don't want to do that. Because they come back with another DUI, or they come back with, like, having burnt a bridge or a relationship.
Yeah, there's so many problems.
They come back without that fire for recovery. They come back with the shame and the guilt and just kicking their own fucking ass. I don't want all that. And I don't even want to go back out and get high, because I can go do it right now if I want to. Like, I've had thoughts in my recovery, like, just try it. If it doesn't work, you can come right back, you know? It's just one day at a time, so you're not really losing 6 years. You're just, you know, you're just testing the water. And if you really don't put as much stake in clean time as you say you do, because, you know, I also like to have the idea like, hey, it's just for today, it's, you know, the present moment is all there is. Anyway, but yeah, I'll just get this jealousy, like, fuck, man, how come you get to do that? And like I just said, I can logically look at the whole package that comes with it and say I don't want it, but there is that addict in me that's like jealous, you know?
Yeah, I'm the same way, just not with like people that relapse, because people that relapse, I can only imagine the defeat that comes back with that. Like,
yeah.
Oh man, I just threw all this away. Like, no, I don't have that as much as I have with people that have defects that, like, you know, your baby mom. I get so jealous of her because she gets to act this way, and I was like, I had my ass kicked for acting like that. I was not allowed to act like that. So how come there are people out there that get to show their whole ass and still survive in this fucking world and not fucking die from it? Like, how come that happens? Like, that is where my jealousy comes from. But then I think, like, okay, so those people probably feel like complete and utter shit about themselves more than, like, I do in my, like, triggered down on myself moments.
Right.
As constant for them. Probably don't have many people that even want to be around them.
Right.
And, you know, and I have all these other things. So, but that's where my jealousy is sometimes.
No, I can relate with that. Like, sometimes it's like, I'll get in an argument with someone, and, like, I don't even argue a lot these days. But, like, if someone's just being, like, a whole ass to me, it'll be like, I'll resist, I'll you know, I self-judge, and which I like that I can police myself and say, nope, you know, this isn't the right move, bro, you know, but, like, they will just come at me with all their shit, and they don't leave the conversation thinking, wow, that was really wrong of me to do that. But, like, they can be a 10 on me, and I can just respond with a 5 and be like, oh yeah, well, I just get petty for a minute or say something that I know I probably should have rose above, and still walk away being like, you know, you fucked up, bro. So, like, I can understand, like, getting jealous of the unconsciousness, you know, like,
yeah.
Fuck, man, I'm so jealous of you that you're so fucking unconscious and, like, okay with it, like. But it's also a blessing because
it is.
Still looking at the people who relapse, looking at the people who still moderately use, like, if I'm being 100% honest, yes, they are, you know, they seem content, right? But they are content with things that I'm not content with. Like, all my old friends who used to use and still do, they never were like me. They were never like, why do I feel so distraught? I want more out of life. I want better control over my emotions. You know what I mean? Like, what was okay for them and still is, would never be okay for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I felt empty because I needed more. I needed purpose. I needed, like, you know, stability. And that's nothing to say against them and that I'm right and they're wrong. It's just a fact that the same state that they may be in, they're comfortable in. But that same state pushed me to make a change because I was like, no, this is not working for me. I need something else, you know?
Right, yeah, no, talking about this really helps me shake that off, like, because now I'm getting to a point where it's just like, dude, there's nobody to be jealous of, because everything I have right now, I have worked for, and I don't want to act like that. I don't want to, you know, I get more out of being the way I am now than being the way that I used to be, so... This looks like it has a lot of houses.
So keep being you, bro.
Yeah. But I have another jealousy.
Oh, man. I thought we were about to end this motherfucker.
Nope.
Oh.
I got more green monsters coming.
Oh.
Fucking of people that are mentally healthy.
Oh.
The people that grew up with both loving parents that felt safe in this world, that were allowed to have their feelings felt, that were told that they are good enough and felt good enough, and therefore are able to love to do things, love just everything, like love life. And I have to work. What is that?
A realty place.
Huh. You want to go there?
Yeah.
I have to work 3 times as hard to get there. And it's not fair. Sometimes. Sometimes it feels like it's not fair because on top of all the otherworldly shit that I gotta deal with, you know, that's difficult, like, you know, like my school stuff. All the other, like, non-addict guys that are in there with me, like, they just gotta deal with the difficulty of the school shit. I got, like, my addict shit I gotta deal with, my trauma shit I gotta deal with, my, you know, so I gotta work 3 times as hard to get there. And something my roommate mentioned that was interesting, she said that people that have trauma don't have as much energy or as much to give as other non-traumatized people do, which, you know, it makes a lot of sense because to get myself going, it's like, oh my god. So I've worked up this kind of defense mechanism where I just go. I just don't think about it. I'm just like, all right, let's just go for it. Because if I put this off, if I procrastinate, you know, if I just be like, oh, I do this, like, I won't fucking do it. I know I won't fucking do it, ever.
Right.
So I just gotta push myself so hard.
Well, it's good to reframe this, too, because you at least can recognize your trauma. You can recognize your addictive behaviors. You can go to school. Like, there are people, and that's not just to say, like, oh, well, someone always has it worse, so don't feel bad about how you feel. But, like, there's some people out there who don't have the education, even of, like, middle or high school, you know, who don't have any type of grip on their emotions or have, you know, they're still in those toxic, you know, family or relationship dynamics, you know, and,
Such a pretty big
I know.
Oh my god.
So, like, you know, at least, you know, you're aware of it. There's people who have trauma responses and addictive responses who aren't even aware of them to work on them.
Yeah.
So, you know, yes, it sucks that you have these extra barriers and, like, you know, you got to work on 5 things at once, but at least you're able to have 5 things to work on, because if you didn't know about your trauma, if you weren't on top of your addiction, you would have 1 thing to work on and 5 things bothering you that you're not working on because you're not aware of. So that just kind of goes to, like, the whole defect talk too. Like, hey, when I find a new defect, I'm glad because now I'm aware of it.
Yes.
Now I can work on it. Yeah,
Yes.
I got a fucking 1,000 things to work on. I have 1,000 things that I notice now that I didn't notice before that are no longer automatically causing me problems that I don't even know why. You know, like when I had emotional walls and I couldn't pinpoint that it was because of daddy issues or because of baby mama drama. You know, they just kept me separated from making friends or giving relationships a fair shot.
Yep.
You know, it was like, I don't know why I'm this way, and I just am this way. So, and I'm going to continue to be this way because I don't even know that there is a way that I'm being. You know what I mean? So it's just one of them things where we are able to be aware. The self-awareness alone is just like right where it's at. And yeah, it sucks that we are so aware of all of our faults and defects or failings or whatever. But
This way.
but yeah. All right, let's end it so we can look around. Are you done? No, go ahead. You heard of a false start? These are false endings.
God damn it, dude. I had so much shit. Threw me off. But yeah, no, I like how you said, like, you know, first you don't know, and then you know and you can't help it, but then you know and then you can help it. So first step is acknowledgement. It's admitting that there's something there. And always being open to criticism is huge for me. Like, yeah, I take it a little bit on the other side of the extreme, but I'm so glad if somebody pinpoints something I'm doing, I'm like, you know what? Maybe. So I'll think about it and I'll see it. Or if they're just talking out of their ass, then I can, I don't know, straight. Then I can just see that too. But it's always good to just like listen when somebody's, and not get defensive, not think like, no, you know, because I know that as soon as I get defensive, it's there. I know it's there.
Yep.
And that's all I got. Thanks.
Well, thank you.
I'm gonna stop it.